military gave us this word, this acronym, VUCA, V-U-C-A. And you'll hear every other analyst on CNN and on various platforms talking about the VUCA environment, the VUCA environment. And it's really an acronym that says we've been leading in a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environment, VUCA. And so then COVID came and changed that equation and added another set of letters called BANI. COVID showed us that it doesn't matter whether you've got $1 billion in your pocket or in your bank account, or I have 5 rands in my bank account, we are all brittle. We're breakable. And it also speaks to the A of the BANI, the anxiety that most corporate environments, most organizations, governments, any place where there's human interaction and decisions have to be made, there's high levels of anxiety. There's been COVID anxiety, which was from people finding that, you remember when we used to go to offices in small cohorts of smaller than 100, you see a colleague today, tomorrow they're gone. And you start experiencing anxiety as to, am I next?
We have quite a lot of programs where we empower the upcoming generation. We've got formal and informal courses and leadership development programs. We've got mentorship programs. We have coaching sessions and sessions like this where we get to have intergenerational conversations and empower young leaders in this very complex, ever-changing environment.
We're saying that tech is the future. We're saying that our mean age is 28. We're dealing with young people who are digital natives. The decision makers at a regulator government level, at a board level, and at an exco level know zilch about tech. Talk the talk, but ask them, give me 3 use cases for AI. You will not get an answer. We are moving too slow. Recently, we were invited to talk at an East Africa CEO conference. There were 200 CEOs, and our topic was AI in the boardroom. What should we know? What should we prepare for? I went there with high expectations, and of course, Themba and I delivered that talk, but the level of questions that the room had was very, very basic. Those are our leaders.
When we get into a company, we've got our degree, qualifications, and suddenly we've arrived, and we don't need to do anything different from then on. And that's something for me that's, it challenged me very early on in my career.
You say that the first idea is that we need to embrace rapid change and fail fast. But I don't think I'd be the only one in the room to say that sometimes wisdom gets in the way. And sometimes naivety also gets in the way from young people. And so it stands in the way of being able to fail fast together. You say that we should leverage diversity. We heard Mr. Mabunda talking about how the people we surround ourselves with are people who look like us. It's 2025, and the ideal profile of a board member is still somebody with a track record, still somebody with multi-sector experience, still somebody who maybe has had an executive role that hardly speaks to this idea of a generational diversity.
We all just need to be a bit more intentional about what we do, why we do it, and how we do it. So if I understand the essence of the question that started all of this, it was essentially, how do we take charge when we are literally years behind where we need to be? And so where do we start? I think we first need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, and understanding perhaps that there's a bit of beauty in duality. It's okay for things to be not where they need to be, but we can start working on where they need to be. Right? So good and bad can coexist. but we all have to be intentional about where we want to go.
Leadership is the capacity of the human collective to shape the future. So that means all of us. Okay? Not generational, everyone. And, you know, when we start, every human being has 3 basic senses. You know it. You make sense of things. You do sense making. And then you do decision making. And then you do action taking. That's native to being human, irrespective of where you were born. Now, if you can take that sense making, decision making, and action taking, and get it tightly coupled, rapidly repeated, iterated, deeply embedded, embodied in the soul of the organization, widely distributed to all in order that you and the collective can shape the future, then you, the organization, the family you run, that may shape a future where everybody's playing.
There's a constant tussle over control versus wealth. And these 3 elements, most of us in the room that I know well are contributors. We want to leave this world better than we found it. But there are people who have a different motive to the contributors. They just want to extract. So I often say that in my book, when I look at the world through this lens, the notion of government of the people, by the people, or the will of the people doesn't exist anymore.